Hey guys, so today we're making some Jamaican style beef patties. Please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let's get started with the recipe. So we're going to start by making the dough for the beef patties. And so I have some all-purpose flour here, and then I'm going to add in some salt. I don't know how authentic this recipe is, but this is my interpretation of it. I did watch a few different videos and lots of people made it different. So, this is what I interpreted from the videos that I watched. So I'm adding in some turmeric, some curry powder, and some baking powder. And so for the dough, I did watch a channel. It's called Daddy's Kitchen, and so it is a Jamaican family, and the guy, he made the dough kind of similar to this. I'm not saying this is the exact recipe, but this is my interpretation. And so I just put in some butter and some shortening just so that my dough can be flaky. And now I'm just mixing that together with my dough cutter. And if you don't have a dough cutter or pastry cutter, you can just use a fork. But I can put the link to the dough cutter in the description box below. I got this from Target. I love going to Target, y'all. And so now after you mix all of that together, you are going to add in some ice cold water. And so I'm just adding it in 1 tablespoon at a time. And you're just going to kind of mix until it all forms together. And so I just mixed it and then continue to add a little bit of water at a time and make sure the water is cold, because we don't want first off, you want your butter and shortening to be cold as well. I forgot to mention that. You can put it in the freezer, but you just want to combine this. You don't want to overmix it. And so yeah, I'm just gonna keep adding my water until I get the consistency that I like. I want to say it was about a cup and a half of water. And I will also be sure to list the ingredients to the recipe in the description box below. And so now I'm just going to form my dough into a ball. So I put some flour on my work surface. And so I'm just using a cutting board. And then I am going to sprinkle some flour on top of the dough. And I am just going to knead it a little bit and just form it into a dough, because I'm going to actually chill this in the refrigerator for a couple hours, or you can do it overnight. And so I did find that doing it overnight made the dough easier to work with, because I used half of the dough for ground beef, and then I had made some patties for my husband using impossible meat, and it was real good, y'all. But anyway, so you're gonna put your dough in the refrigerator. I just wrapped it in some plastic wrap and let it chill in the refrigerator for a couple of hours. And so while we do that, we are going to work on our filling. And so I am just chopping up one yellow onion, and then I'm also going to chop up some garlic. And you can use as much or as little as you'd like. And so I did see a few videos, they put like onion, garlic, a little bit of carrot. And so I guess you put in whatever you want to put in, but I tried to keep it super simple. And so I'm just going to chop this garlic up, and then we're going to chop up a little bit of ginger. This is some fresh ginger, and I'm just using a spoon to peel off the skin. And then I am just going to chop this up finely, and then we're going to put this to the side so that we can cook our ground beef. Oh, before we do that, we're going to do some green onions. So I'm just going to chop up some green onions. We're also going to add in some fresh thyme to this dish. And so guys, forgive me. Sometimes I forget all of the ingredients that I put in it, because sometimes weeks go by before I actually upload the video. And so I forget, honestly. So I apologize. And so now we're going to actually finally cook the ground beef. So I just added in some garlic salt, and then I have some meat seasoning. And I actually found this at a local African market. And so I put that in there, and then I'm going to add in some garlic powder, some onion powder. I'm going to put in quite a bit of seasonings in here. And again, we don't want no bland food, y'all. I don't care what you season your food with. Okay, I do for this recipe, I do. But just make sure your food is not bland. And so we're just going to add in some smoked paprika. I'm going to add in some ground allspice, some ground coriander, and lots of different seasonings. And so you want to make sure that you taste your food as you cook, because Sometimes you have to adjust the seasonings, and I did that several times throughout the dish because I want it to taste good to me. And so now I'm just adding in those onions and those green onions, the garlic, the ginger, and the thyme. And you're going to stir all of this together until your ground beef is all the way cooked. Next, I'm going to add in 2 habanero peppers that I just took the seeds out of. This is going to add a nice amount of spice to our dish. Again, I can't find Scotch bonnets in my town, and so I just used habanero peppers, and you can keep some of the seeds in if you want. And next, I'm just going to add in some browning, and this is going to add a nice color to our ground beef. And like I said, I watched several different videos, and I saw people putting oyster sauce or soy sauce just to get the dark color on the ground beef. But I did see a few people use the browning seasoning as well, like the browning sauce. So you're just going to cook your beef. And if you find that your beef is getting kind of dry, you can add in some beef broth or some water. And I did add a little bit of jerk seasoning because I felt like it needed some more spice and some more Caribbean flavors. And so I put my ground beef to the side, and I did see a few people kind of blend up their ground beef just to get a different texture. And so we put the beef to the side and let it cool off. And now I have this dough that I'm just gonna roll out, and look at that nice golden color. And that color comes from the turmeric and the curry powder. And so I'm just gonna roll this dough out, and this is only half of the dough because I did make some beef patties with the impossible beef the next day. And so right here I have some frozen butter that I'm just grating into the dough, and I'm just going to fold it over to help to create some layers. That cold butter in this dough is going to help to create a nice flaky pastry. And so I'm just folding this over, and then I'm just going to keep rolling it out. And then after that, we're almost ready to assemble our beef patties. And by no means am I a professional like dough maker, but you want to make sure that you put some flour on your rolling pin so that your dough doesn't stick to it. And now I want to make circles for my beef patty, so I'm just using a saucer, like a small plate, and cutting around it to get a nice circle. And it ain't gonna look that pretty when I put it on the pan, but we gonna work with what we got. And so now I'm just gonna add my ground beef to the dough, and I put a lot of beef in here because I want to taste the beef. I want to see it when I cut this thing open. And so I'm putting in that delicious ground beef, and I'm just gonna fold it over, and I put a little bit of egg wash on the edge of it to seal the dough together. And you can cut away the excess dough from the patty, and then you're going to seal it by pressing a fork down along the edge. And then we're going to brush some egg wash on top of the dough so that it can get nice and brown and have a nice glossy look. And then we're going to put it in the oven for about 25 minutes. And again, I'll be sure to list the ingredients and the instructions in the description box below. But this is what our delicious beef patties look like right out of the oven. And so I did let them cool off a little bit. And now we're just going to cut it open to see what we have. And this was my very first time making beef patties, but it was absolutely delicious, guys. Look how nice and meaty this is. That dough is nice and flaky. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye.